When looking at audio, you want to look at your speakers and find if they're amplified, not amplified, or if you have a subwoofer and a surround sound system. While looking at sound cards, these are always attached to your motherboard. They process digital data into music and sounds. All sound cards nowadays are 3D sound cards. This basically means when it produces a sound, you shouldn't know directly where the sound is coming from. Also, some sound cards are surround sound capable. They are up to now Dolby Surround Sound 7.0. You want to look at the ports that you use to connect the peripheral devices to your computer. The things you want to consider are the devices you want to use and the ports that are needed for these devices. If you have several USB ports that you're going to be needing, you want to see if you have enough USB ports to support this. Let's talk about a couple types of ports. First of all, there's a universal serial bus. This has a transfer rate speed up to 480 megabytes per second. It's hot swappable. In other words, you can unplug a USB device and then plug another one in, and there won't be any data or error problems with that. FireWire transfers rate of about 400 megabytes per second. These are generally used in digital cameras and some external hard drives. Newer FireWire transfers at 800 megabytes per second. It is the fastest connection device currently out there. Your Ethernet is the fastest way to transfer information over the web. The fastest rate of transfer is 100 megabytes per second. It connects computers to networks and computers to other computers. The serial port transfers data 1 bit at a time. Its max speed, 56 kilobytes per second. Serial ports are quickly being phased out by universal serial buses. The parallel port can transfer up to 8 bits of data simultaneously. The max speed is 12 megabytes per second. Once again, the parallel port is being phased out by the more popular universal serial bus. The IRDA port, or the infrared port. It can transfer rates of up to 4 megabytes per second. It uses infrared light waves to transfer this data. The downfall of this is that it has to have a direct line of sight or the signal can be lost. Bluetooth has a transfer rate of 1 megabytes per second to 3 megabytes per second. It transmits radio waves to send data over a short distance. The advantage of this is it does not need a direct line of sight to be working. The MIDI port, or the Musical Instrument Digital Interface, is generally used to connect synthesizers and other audio ports to a computer. It has a transfer rate of 3.5 kilobytes per second. When adding ports, look into what new port standards are for when you're putting in a new expansion card. If you're installing FireWire, decide on which type of FireWire you want to use. Again, I've discussed with you that there is 6-pin and 4-pin. Find out what the type of device you're using and what you exactly need for this. Also, there's an old version of USB called USB 1.0. Make sure that you're upgrading to the USB 2.0 chip and not the USB 1.0. There's also said to be a USB 3.0 coming out in the next few years. If you can wait on it, you might want to sit back and wait for USB 3 to come out. Another option to this is using an expansion hub. This will enable several devices to be connected to a port. So you'll connect expansion hub to your computer through a USB port that will then allow you to connect 4 other USB ports through that expansion hub. Lastly, you want to evaluate your system's reliability. Look at its performance. Is it slow? Does it freeze? Does it crash on you often? Do you have the ability to do the upkeep and maintenance tab? What system tools to be using to add and remove programs? How to use the control panels? How to update software and hardware drivers? We'll take a look at the disk defragmenter, the disk cleanup, and the add remove programs. When updating software and hardware drivers, understand software generally has automatic updates. You want to make sure your automatic updates are turned on your computer. With hardware, you can look at the manufacturer and generally go to their website to see if there's any updated drivers to install. The last resort. If the problems persist, your best bet is to reformat or reinstall your operating system. If all else fails, you can always try upgrading to a newer operating system with the latest version. The final decision. How closely does your system come to meeting your needs? How much would it really cost for you to upgrade your system, as opposed to how much would it cost you to just go out and buy a new system? This concludes this exercise.